again, we're looking northern. We're going to come to the southern hemisphere just after this, but I'm just making the map alive a little bit. So we have the sidereal Virgo is over the main part of Virgo. It misses the star just at the top of the head, but has the main body part. It has Spica, the brightest star there, and it's Virgo. The tropical Libra has the constellation Virgo within it, or it's aligned with the constellation Virgo. So are the indecisive Libras of the northern hemisphere this week indecisive Libras? Are they a little bit picky or fussy or critical? Question: how do you bring the myth into this? I personally like to keep it as a wonder, and then when I read things about mythologies, or the different constellations and mythologies, there are some very nice books talking about the mythologies from different cultures and how they come down. The one that I loved, it was an old book that I had, and I didn't have the front cover of it. So it was I think it was Star Lore by Gertrude and her husband Jobs, I think their name was. But I never was able to find another copy of that one. But there are other, even on Wikipedia, they have really nice pictures of constellations, size, degrees, and shapes, and gives the different myths in different places, different cultures. Very, very useful. So then when we get to tropical Scorpio, it has the scales, the balance, which is another tiny constellation, and the bottom half of the Virgo. Okay, this, as it shifts along, sidereal Libra has the Libra inside of it, except one star is just right on the edge, just out, and a big part of it has the Virgo constellation in it, the sidereal Libra. So tropical Scorpio has this balance. Is there an indecisiveness or looking for balance in the northern hemisphere Scorpio? Is there a sense of the scales of justice? Is there some criticalness about it? Okay. This becomes more relevant when you start seeing in comparison to the southern hemisphere one, which we'll do in a minute. The tropical Sagittarius has the whole constellation of Scorpion as progressed into, is going through, and as the Scorpion goes through Sagittarius, the heart of the Scorpion, supposedly the most evilest, malevolent red star, angriest, malevolent star, moves its way through the degrees of Sagittarius. So here it is it's at about 10 degrees Sagittarius now. And so our Sagittarians are a little more judgmental, a little more Scorpion-like. They have a sting to their opinions, or when they're not listened to, they have this scorpionic side to them. Okay, this is relationship of Sagittarius to tropical. So it's like we've studied the tropical zodiac. We're watching the light and the darkness, and we're watching how the planets are affected by watching how the solar system works. This stuff is add-on, extra considerations, extra subtler associations that could also be added into it. But it's a moving one. It's not a fixed one. It changes over years. So here we see the tropical Capricorn, or the Hemisphere Capricorn, has the Sag inside of it. So perhaps they're in their ambition or in their structure a little bit more inclined to aim higher, aim further than they're not necessarily as inhibited as could be. But the archers within Sag, mostly a little bit at the high part of the archers on the Capricorn sidereal Capricorn side, but it's pretty well within the tropical Capricorn. We get to tropical sidereal Capricorn has the bit end of the archer and all of the goat in it, and a big chunk of the water bearer in it, which overlap each other for half the sign, for more than half the sign. So the northern hemisphere Aquarius has the goat and the water bearer overview, has both of these, but mostly the goat and the water bearer within its sign. Okay. Then when you get to the sidereal Aquarius, it includes most of the Aquarius from the hips up and one leg down to the throw in the water, and and part of the fish, the last part of one of the fish of Pisces. So that's the sidereal Aquarius. The tropical Pisces has mostly the Aquarius, the water bearer, and a big chunk, you know, maybe 13 degrees of Pisces, of the fish inside of it, which is a big constellation. You know, when we come to the southern hemisphere, just using this as a distinction, there's ways of thinking about it. The southern hemisphere Aries has the constellation of the Virgin over it. It has the self-critical, the picky. The northern hemisphere Aries has the Pisces. It's a little more fishy, or kind, maybe perhaps kinder, whatever, Piscean qualities or fishy qualities. The southern hemisphere Aries has the hardworking, meticulous, naive, Virgin Virgo energy on top of it. So are the southern hemisphere Aries tougher and more down to earth than the northern hemisphere Aries? Okay, take a look at that. So you can still see the sidereal zodiac divisions are the same, but the tropical zodiacs are different. So the tropical Taurus moves up. It's in sidereal Libra and Scorpio. It has that. Where it is, it's got the scales in it and the bottom part of Virgo. But are the southern hemisphere a little more balanced? They're looking for scales of justice, and a little bit maybe fussier than the northern hemisphere Taurus with the sorry, blanked out. With the Ram, with just the blatant Ram has the impulsiveness. So one has the scales, one has the Ram. It's their difference. The northern hemisphere Taurus is more pushy, more assertive, more impulsive. Oh, the ramifications. Okay, so then we look at the southern hemisphere Gemini has the constellation of the Scorpio over it, of the Scorpion over it. So I'm going to concentrate mostly on that. We talked on the sidereal already, but you can see how it fits. If someone's doing the sidereal zodiac, if you have your position in the sidereal zodiac, it's not hard to translate it over to see what place it is in the tropical zodiac. But this means it's the southern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere has the bull, has the determination of the bull, of the stubbornness or sturdiness, practicalness. The southern hemisphere has the sting of the scorpion, the sarcasm, more than the northern hemisphere Gemini. So I'm not trying to say this is the definition of it. This is how I've been able to make relative associations to this that make sense to me and that fits in with different layers or levels of studying astrology. So in the natal chart, this isn't necessarily useful. Sometimes in the progression, as you're evolving through some of these, you have some of these stories, they can become quite incredibly insightful, especially if you read books like Alice Bailey's Labors of Hercules, the lessons of the soul as it moves through the zodiac. It's based on the constellations, and Hercules is the soul having a test in each constellation. So you can begin to see maybe you're working through those tests on some level, depending how alert or awake or sensitive your constellation, your nature is. How much are you living your chart? How open is it to the constellations? How open is it to the planets, to the stars, to the constellations? How much are we sensitized to or aware of? So Cancer has the Archer, Southern Hemisphere Cancer has the Archer, so possibly they're a little bit more outreaching than the Southern Hemisphere, than the Northern Hemisphere Cancer. With the my mind's not thinking right. Has the twins. The Southern Hemisphere has the twins over it. The Northern Hemisphere has the twins. The Southern Hemisphere has the Archer. Okay. And then the southern hemisphere Leo has the goat over top of it, whereas the northern hemisphere Aquarius would have the, do I have the first alignment to do together? Yes, okay, so maybe we'll just, okay, so we're just working through this. So you see southern hemisphere, one second, back up one more. Where are we? Here we are. Okay, so the Leo goes to the goat. The tropical Libra has the water bearer, and a bit of the tropical Virgo has the water bearer and the fish over it. And here the Libra has the fish over it. So the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere Libra has the romantic fish, or that Piscean, Sagittarial Piscean fishy quality. It's a little more, perhaps more dreamy. Whereas the northern hemisphere Libra has the Virgo, the more picky or fussiness. The southern hemisphere Scorpio, tropical Scorpio, has the Ram, has the impulsiveness. So you have the Scorpios with the impulse to push for it, a little more than the northern hemisphere Scorpios, who would have the scales and the balance. The southern hemisphere Sagittarius has the bull over it, so it's a little bit more bullheaded in its ideas, but not perhaps as stinging as the northern hemisphere Sag. The Capricorn has the twins, a little bit more rational, perhaps strategic added to the Capricorn as opposed to the opportunistic northern hemisphere Capricorn with the archer within it. The southern hemisphere Aquarius has the crab, and the head of the Leo now has the crab within it. And is it a little more sensitive, a little more crabby, a little more security oriented than the northern hemisphere Aquarius with the Capricorn there? So the southern hemisphere Pisces, it has the Leo within it, has a little more pride and dramatic and nobility than the northern hemisphere Pisces with the Aquarius there. Okay, so these are just maps so you can see them. It's probably worth using your screenshots and getting shots, having shots of each, so you have each of the graphs. If you had, I think it would have gone out with the classes. Those of you who have taken the classes as part of your worksheets. Okay, here you just see the zodiacs relating to each other. So I should have been comparing them better here. Here's the fish, and you say the fish is a Piscean, romantic, Jupiterian ruled, mystical, faithful. It affects the tropical Aries, making it more fishy, and the southern hemisphere Libra, making it more fishy around relationships, perhaps around sharing. The northern hemisphere Taurus has the Ram, making it more impulsive and assertive and just push for it. And then, but the tropical Scorpio, southern hemisphere Scorpio has the Ram, so it has its judgment and it acts on it. It's ready to fight. It's ready to rock and roll. The northern hemisphere tropical Gemini has this determination. It has the bull-like determination to know what it knows and be steady, fixed in what it knows. It doesn't mean that tropical Geminis are full of bull. It just means they have a determination, the qualities of the bull, not the word association that we have. Okay. The tropical Sagittarius has this bullish, determined, stubborn side to it, which diminishes somewhat the flexibility. It adds trying to consolidate or materialize their many ideas or many perceptions. Okay, good.